Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be reading Captain Underpants and the preposterous plight of the purple potty people, part 2, chapter 12 to 22. Chapter 12. Kablamski! Suddenly there was another blinding flash of light. Everyone around the purple potty of light, everyone flew off into different directions. Then the purple potty stopped shaking and wobbling and switched into shutdown mode. George, Harold, and Cracker peeked out. "Look," said Harold, "there aren't any books in this library. We must be back in our own reality." "But we got to be sure," said George. The two boys tucked Crackers into Harold's book bag and crept out into the hallway. As they peered into the windows of the nearby classrooms, They saw room after room of heartbroken and despondent-looking children. Some were standing in corners, weeping, and others were on dunce stools wearing humiliating hats, while still others were writing unbelievably degrading sentences over and over the chalkboard as their teacher rifled through their lunch boxes, stealing all of the best desserts. One of the hats says, "Dunce, loser, I'm a stupid. Duh, Mr. Lice Guy, dummy. This will go on my permanent record." "Yep," sighed George, "we're back in our own reality." "I never thought I'd say this," said Harold, "but it's good to be home." "To the treehouse," cried George. Chapter 12. Purple Potty People Unite. Seconds after George, Harold, and Crackers left the library, four confused beings from an alternative dimension began to stir. Evil George, Evil Harold, Evil Sulu, and Mr. Nice Mr. Crump stumbled to the center of the strange empty library, rubbing their hands around, looking curiously. "Look," said Evil George, "this library has no book on the shelves." Said Harold. "It looks like we've entered some kind of alternative universe, illogically reality where everything is backwards." "Backward, said Evil George. We could do quiet well in a place like this." He walked over to the drinking fountain and splashed some water on Nice Mr. Cup's face. Suddenly, Mr. Cup turned into a smile. Suddenly, Nice Mr. Cup, confused smile, turned into an evil frown. He ripped off his clothes and tied a curtain from a nearby window around his neck. Then Evil George handed him a bad toupee, and the pernicious principal stood before them, snarling angry through his flared nostrils. "I'm Captain Blunderpants!" he shouted in thunderous voice. Chapter 14. The chapter where some stuff happens. Meanwhile, back at their treehouse, George and Harold grabbed some supplies after heading off to save Sulu. "We will need our 3D hypno ring," said George, to change Sulu back into his old self again. "Cool," said Harold, "and we better take the rest of this extra thanks superpowers juice just in case." "Good idea," said George. The two friends stuffed their supplies and their pet pterodactyl into their book bags and headed down the treehouse ladder. Just where the heck do you two think you're going?" asked a commanding voice at the bottom of the ladder. It was George's dad. Said George, and he didn't seem very happy. Said George, we need to go back to school for something. Yeah, said Harold, we forgot something. Well, it'll have to wait until tomorrow, said George's dad. We were having dinner with the Hutchins tonight. Remember? Oh, yeah, said George. It's the grandparents' day. We almost forgot. Well, you're just in time for supper, for dinner, said George's dad. Go inside and wash up. But the fate of the entire world is in our hands, cried George. The fate of the entire world can't wait till tomorrow, said George's dad. Chapter 15. Super supper. After they washed their hands, the two boys went to the dining room. George's parents had prepared a big meal, and everybody waited patiently for George and Harold to join them. Harold's mom, sister, and grandpa were there, along with George's mom, dad, and his great-grandma. Hello, babies, said George's great-grandpa. What have you boys been up to today? Nothing, said George as he hugged his great-grandma. We made you and Grandpa a comic book yesterday, said Harold. You did? said Harold's grandpa. Well, let's have a look. George shuffled through his book bag, taking things out and laying them on the table. Where it's here somewhere, he said. Finally, he pulled the two copies of their latest comic books, The Adventure of Boxer Boy and Great Granny Girdle. It's about you guys turning into superheroes and save the world. And stuff, said George. I drew the pictures, said Harold. Well, that's very nice, boys, said George's dad. Now sit down. Let's eat. We can't, said George. We've got to go now. It's really important. George and Harold's grandparents poured themselves a glass of juice and began reading their new comic book while the boys continued arguing with George's dad. Chapter 16. The Adventure of the Boxer Boy and Great Granny Girdle. An epic novel by George Beard and Harold Hutchins. The Adventure of Boxer Boy and Great Granny Girdle. Everybody knows that grandparents are kind of dorky. They tell dumb jokes. Why did the silly Willie throw his clock in the air? He wanted to see time fly. Ha ha. They call you embarrassing nicknames in public. Hello, babies. Ha ha. And they have no sense of what things cost. Here's a nickel. Why don't you buy a video game with it? Thanks, I will. But grandparents are still cool for one reason. We're old, and we don't care what anybody thinks, what anyone thinks. Out of my way, Buster Brown. Shove. Step aside, you bother me. Quack. Our heroes. And so, everything was cool until one day, when a strange new store opened up downtown. They were selling robots. The kids trade in your old worn out grandparents for the latest in geezer technology. Cool. They're tons better than regular grandparents. They tell funny jokes. What's 40 feet long and smells like pee? Line dancers at the at the old folks' home. Ha ha. They call you cool nicknames in public. Hey Thor, yo, what's up, dog? And best of all, they have no sense of what things cost. Here's $10,000 for a candy bar. Soon, every kid in town was trading in their old grandparents. Hey, what's going on? Nothing. Where are you taking us? Nowhere. For a brand new Robo Granny and Grand Patron 2000. Cool. Wow. I love my new Robo Geezers. Soon there was only 2 real grandparents left in town. You wouldn't trade us in, would you? No way. You better not or you'll get a whipping. Anyway, one day George and Harold's grandparents went downtown. Something fishy is going on in there. So they snuck it beside the building. Shh, keep out. Soon. Hey, look! Slave room. They opened the door and saw a tragic discovery. Hey, all of the grandparents in town got turned into slaves. Oh my. We've got to save those old folks. But how? Beats me. Hey, look! A whole box of hard candies. Let's forget the slaves for now and just eat the candy. What slave? Munch. Meanwhile, in the next room. In a few more days, those old slaves will be under our control. Cool. Then I'll give them superpowers. How will you do that? It's easy. I've got a whole box of superpowered hard candies in the other room. Old people love hard candy. I know. Later. Those candies were good. I feel so strong. Me too. I feel powerful. Oh no. Those guys ate all my superpower hard candy. George and Harold, grandparents, joined hands. Geezer power activate! And they spin around and around. They spin around and around. Soon they were transformed. I'm a boxer. I'm Great Granny Girdle. I'm out of here. I'm with you. The bad guys ran upstairs. They got into a UFO on top of their building and took off, calling all Robo Geezers, attack Boxer Boy and Great Granny Girdle. Suddenly, all the Robo Geezers in town transformed. Click, click, and they went and off they flew. The Robo Geezers attacked, but Boxer Boy and Great Granny Girdle were faster than a speeding electric scooter. Zoom! More powerful than adult diapers. What a man forget him. And able to leap tall buildings without breaking a hip. But there's too many of them. I have an idea. Let me chase you for a while. So the robots all chased Great Granny Girdle and Boxer Boy attacked the spaceship. Hey! Punch, bam, bang, crash. Kicky. Then he got some paint. Hey! And add the finishing touch. Hey, Robo Dorks! Hard candy. Hard candy. Look! What? Hey, yummy! The Robo Geezer tried to devour the spaceship into a wild feeding frenzy. They ate and ate and ate and ate. Munch, munch, munch. Then one of them bit on the fuel line, and kaboom! We're free! Hooray for the Boxer Boy! And 3 cheers for the Granny Girdle. Robo Geezer Inc. The End. Treehouse Comic Inc. Chapter 17. Meanwhile, back at the treehouse, while George and Harold pleaded them with George's dad to be excused from dinner, packing evil things outside their window, sneaking up to their treehouse. We've got to create some kind of diversion while we unleash our stingful shame, said Evil Harold. The villains look around and the tree house for anything. The villains looked out the treehouse for anything they could see. What's this little thing? Evil George, please. The button on the back of the Maniacer Gauzy Grow 4000. Suddenly, a beam of energy shot out the tiny contraption, accidentally zapping Evil Sulu, who was tucked in by Evil Harold's shirt pocket. Immediately, Evil Sulu began to grow bigger and bigger until he leaped on Evil Harold's pocket and fell to the floor with a giant thud. Evil Sulu was now the size of a full-grown sheepdog. The villains all smiled at one another as they watched Evil Sulu growl and snarl ferociously. I think we found a diversion, said Evil George, as he zapped Evil Sulu again. Chapter 18, Crash. Suddenly, Evil Sulu grew out the size of a giant monster. He jumped out of the tree house and landed in George's backyard with a terrible thunderous crash. What was that? Cried George's dad. Everyone jumped and dashed outside to get a better look at the horrible creature that towered over the house, snarling and roaring hideously. For some strange reason, George and Harold's grandparents jumped and dashed in the faster than they had ever moved on. Years, but nobody really noticed because of the giant hamster thing. What's going on? Cried Harold. Those evil guys must have followed us back to our own reality somehow, whispered George. We've got to stop them before they take over our world. Well, said Harold, it looks like you and I are just going to have to drink that superpower juice so we can stop giant Evil Sulu from wrecking the city. Harold, said George, as he eyed the carton of superpower juice suspiciously. I'm so psyched, said Harold. I've always wanted to have superpowers. Wanted to have Harold, said George again as he held held the carton to his ear and shook it back and forth. I hope I get kung fu grip and x-ray vision, said Harold. That would be awesome. Harold, shouted George as he turned the superpower juice carton upside down. There's nothing left. What do you mean? Cried Harold. There was like 3/3 of a carton in there 20 minutes ago. Well, now it's gone, said Harold. I must have evaporated or something. The boys watched helplessly as giant Evil Sulu continued crashing the city. Well, said Harold, I guess there's just one thing to do left. Hurriedly, the three friends flew to the house of their principal, Mr. Grubb. It was easy to find, since the only house on the Kermorton Boulevard that was covered in toilet paper. Next time we've got to use a single ply toilet paper, said George. We'll get better coverage. After a quick knock on on the door and even quicker snap of the fingers, Mr. Krupp transformed into the amazing Captain Underpants, and in no time at all, the world's greatest, baddest superhero was face to face with the world's biggest bionic hamster. Chapter 20, the incredibly graphic violence chapter, part 1 in Flipporama. Introducing Flipporama, Prickly Brown. Here's how it works. Back in the old days, incredibly graphic violence was believed to be harmful, dangerous, and even immoral. but now it's fun for the whole family thanks to the science of Fliporama. Step 1. Here's how it works. Step 1. First, place your left hand inside the dotted line marked left hand here. Hold the book open flat. Step 2. Grasp the right hand page with your right thumb and index finger inside the dotted line marked right thumb here. Step 3. Now quickly flip the right hand page back and forth until the pictures appear to be animated. For extra fun, try adding your own sound effects. Should we add our own sound effects, guys? Okay, we should. Grrr. Oh, who ripped this? Fliporama 2, pages 119 and 121. Remember to flip only page 19. While you're flipping, be sure you could see the picture on page 119 and the one on page 121. If you flip quickly, the two pictures will start to look like one animated picture. Don't forget to add your own sound effects. Put your head on my boulder. Chapter 21, the anticlimactic chapter. In a little between the battle between man and beast was over. George and Harold patted Sulu's giant face and Brett a sigh of relief. He'll be okay, said George. Sulu's giant face and breathed over his head of relief. He'll be okay, said George. He just got knocked out. Said, great, said Harold. It looks like all of us got our problems all over. Not so fast, said a voice that came over lower right-hand corner of the page. It was Evil George along with Evil Harold and the ultra evil Captain Blunderpants. The terrible trio had been busy working on their preposterous plight, which was the fancy way of saying they were busy robbing a bank. Somebody been messing with our giant attack hamster, said Evil Harold. And the ultra evil Captain Blunderpants, the terrible trio, had been busy working with their preposterous plight, which was a fancy way of saying they were busy robbing a bank. Somebody's been messing with our giant attack hamster, said Harold, and I think we need to teach those goody goodies a lesson. But I'm just the guy to do it, said Captain Blunderpants proudly. Instant, the mood shifted. Everyone stood back. The air crackled with tension. The showdown of the century was about to begin. Captain Blunderpants would soon engage. Instantly, the mood shifted. Everybody stood back. The air crackled with tension. The showdown of the century was about to begin. Showdown of Captain Underpants would soon engage a historic battle with his evil twin. Never before had our brave hero encountered an enemy who was so powerful, pound for pound, super powerful for power for superpower. Captain Underpants was pitted against his equal. He had met his own match, and it was ultimate smackdown. All out war. The brawl to end all brawls. The definite clash between good and evil. Momentous confrontation of the most cradle. Snap. George snapped his his fingers, and suddenly the horribly evil Captain Blunderpants transformed into a friendly elementary school principal. "Oh man," cried Evil George and Evil Harold. "We read your comic book last chapter 8, said Harold. Did ya think that we would remember how to turn our evil supervillain back into a harmless principal?" Snap! George and Harold quickly found some rope and tied it up Evil George and Evil Harold. Nice Mr. Crab. "We're taking you losers we're taking you losers back to your own reality. Really won't bother us again," said George. "We all have to dehypnotize and shrink Zulu, and our job will be done," said Harold. "Nothing can possibly go wrong now. You know," said George. You know, you really shouldn't say things like that," said George. "Why?" said Harold. Chapter 22. Okay, guys, that's it. The chapter 22 to chapter 32 is coming tomorrow. Thank you guys for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Bye! This is the iPhone 12 Pro Max. Oh my god, we're literally walking to the Burj Khalifa. I am so excited, I cannot believe it. I just went to the Gucci store and I got this Gucci t-shirt for